Hi everyone, today we are going to be making custard creams. Now for this we are going to need just a few ingredients, not too many today, and we are going to first start off with the biscuit, and it's going to need 75 grams of margarine or butter. We are going to need 100 grams of self-raising flour. If you don't have self-raising, you can use plain and put some baking powder in it. We have got icing sugar. Now icing sugar, and we're going to put 25 grams of that in there. This is different from what we'd normally use for a biscuit. What we'd normally use is caster sugar. Now icing sugar, what it's going to do is going to give it like a more sandy texture, and it's going to like melt in your mouth. It's going to be really beautiful. And along with that, we are going to add custard powder. Okay, so again, custard powder is going to have some corn flour in it, which thickens everything up, but it's also going to add to that melt in the mouth texture. It's going to give a vanilla flavour. Okay, so the first step is to get your oven onto the correct temperature. Now, what we need is 180 degrees, or if you're using gas mark 5. Now, that's really important we get our heat on straight away, so that the temperature of our oven is going to be correct when we're adding our biscuits. First off, after we've got our preheated oven, is we are going to weigh out all of our dry ingredients. Now that is our flour, our custard powder and our sugar. Now, best thing to do is, if you do have scales, that's great. If you don't have scales, a heaped tablespoon of flour is going to equal 25, so you're going to need 4 of them. And with sugar, it is a flat one. But when we're using icing sugar like we are today, what you can do is just, again, 1 heaped teaspoon and weigh your 25. So that is me nearly at my 100 for my flour, and I will do the rest. So again, just to reiterate, if you don't have scales at home, it'll be 4 heaped tablespoons of flour, just like this, not too much heaped, 1 heaped tablespoon of your custard powder, and 1 of your icing sugar. Okay, if you are using scales, make sure to tear after everyone so they go back to 0. Okay, so that's me weighed out all my dry ingredients. Now I'm going to measure out my margarine. Now, when I was doing the 7, I was making sure I did that so that it was adding some air into our biscuits, and so that I didn't have any big lumps. Now, if you maybe saw with the icing sugar, there were some lumps, so it was able to take out the big lumps as well. Now, next what we're going to do is we are going to add 75 grams of my margarine. Now, my margarine's quite soft, so it's going to be really easy to work with. So if you are getting it straight from the fridge, or if it's hard butter, what I would do is just take it out maybe like 45 minutes earlier, so that it's a wee bit softer for you. Okay, so with that, wooden spoon, spatula, we are going to just hold my finger here, and we are just going to kind of push that to the side. Now, if you have an electric whisk, that's even better. If not, we are just going to mix this until smooth. Okay, all I've been doing there is I have been adding my dry ingredients that I'd sifted onto a plate, and what I've done is basically just added on bit by bit. Now it's just the last wee bit I've got, and I'm going to mix that in. Now, when these go in the oven, you might have baking paper, which is great, and it means it won't stick. All I've got, because I'm not getting any in the house, is I have got some tin foil, and what I've done is just I've sprinkled a little bit of flour on top, pretty much like half a teaspoon, not very much, and then just rubbed it in so that my biscuits hopefully don't stick to the bottom. Now, I've got a flexo spatula. Make sure you're pushing down the sides. If you don't have a spatula, even just use your finger. Make sure it's clean. A nice clean finger is always going to be a really good tool, just so you get all the bits to the side added into your mixture. Just means you don't get a big lump of butter or something in your mixture. Now, mix this last bit in. Now, this bit is a little bit harder, the last wee bits, because your mixture is quite dry, because you're making a biscuit. Okay, when it's all mixed in, what you're going to do is you're going to make little balls. Now it's really important, we are going to be doing custard creams that kind of stack, so we're going to do a filling inside them. So because we're doing stacking ones, we need to be in pairs. So when you're doing this, just make sure they're all equally sized and also that they've got a pair. Now if there is that you have a wee extra bit, I'm sure you could have a wee try, but that's the aim, is to try and get a few that's the same, some doubles. Okay, so just wee ball, and then we're going to place that on your tray. So that's my first double. You could, if you wanted, you could weigh these out so they're exactly the size, but we're not being that much of a perfectionist just now. But if, let's say, you're doing these for a bake sale or for selling, you'd want them to be equal size first so that you could determine how much they cost you, so you can make a profit margin, and also so that, you know, somebody who was there is not going to be upset that someone's got a bigger biscuit than them. And it'll cause. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to use a fork and we're just going to press down lightly on the top, okay, just to give a wee shape and spread out the biscuits a wee bit. Now, they shouldn't spread too much or grow too much when they're cooking, but it's good just to give any biscuits a little bit of room so that if they do spread out, they're not going to touch each other. We're going to get these in the oven, and they are going to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Make sure you're using oven gloves, getting someone to open up the oven door for you if needed. Get these in and then put a wee timer on, so don't forget. During that time, make sure you get all your dishes done. Okay, my biscuits have been in for actually over the 10 minutes. Now they're in about 12 minutes. To be honest, some of these have actually got a wee bit of colour on them, and that's not really what we're looking for. I just was out doing some stuff. What we're looking for is a wee light biscuit, and all you want is just the lightest amount of colour on them. Now, these biscuits have been out of the oven for about half an hour now. Now, it's really important when you get biscuits out of the oven that you're going to leave them on the tray. Now, what happens is a biscuit, unlike cake, normally a cake you touch it in the middle and you want it to bounce up, but a biscuit is going to be soft and it hardens up as it cools down. So these have been on there for about 15 minutes, half an hour, and then all you do is you can move them over here. Now, if you're not like me and you're not doing other things while you make these biscuits, what I would do is I would only leave them on for about 5 minutes, and then I would move them on to a cooling wire. Okay. Now, after that point, what we're going to do is we are going to make our filling. So in our filling, what we're going to do is we have got 50 grams of icing sugar, we've got 25 grams of margarine, and then I've just added a wee bit of the vanilla essence into that. Now all we're going to do is use a wooden spoon or a spatula, and we're going to stir that until all mixed through. Okay, after a minute, it's going to look like that. Sorry, I've not got the best lighting today. Okay, after you've mixed this through, all you're going to do is you are going to get a teaspoon and you're going to add 1 teaspoon. We're going to put that in and just spread that out. You're going to try and find one that matches in size, and you're going to push them together. And that is you got your the extra one is for me. Enjoy.